to my oldest son, Philip Jr. He's on board the Excalibur, headed back in from a 2-day trip. And there's a lot of people listening, Philip. They want to know about the bluefin tuna. They want to know about what you guys did. First of all, how are you and how was the trip?
You know what, man? We did a company trip through XL Pay Excalibur, and we took a lot of guys out that didn't. They're real green. Didn't know what they're doing really too much. The crew took care of them, tied them up, rigged them up, and they gave us our fair shot at bluefin tuna fishing. Now, the bluefin, we marked a lot of fish in the morning. We just could not get them to bite. They were there. They're on the graphs and everything. Would not come up, wouldn't boil, nothing like that. We did see a couple come up and puddle, but would not take anything. They're acting real finicky right now. So we ended up switching gears, going into Colonette and fishing rockfish. And I'll tell you what, man, Dad, you would have loved this rockfish. And it was so much fun. Caught the biggest lingcod of my life. It was huge. I had to get a gaff up in the bow. Cole was throwing a jig. My cousin Cole throwing a jig, catching big, beautiful reds, which I'll send photos to you about. But I mean, everybody's going home with a decent stack of fish. Now, after we got done with that, Chuck turned the motor back and going back for bluefin. Gave us a fair shot at bluefin. They sort of marked the fish left and right during the night. I slept through it. My cousin Cole, who's standing right next to me, he ended up getting his first flatfall fish of his life that night, and
Congratulations.
it went about 60 pounds, man. I was very
Oh,
jealous, but he got one for 60. Now, after that, we fished bluefin this morning. Really didn't see anything, so Chuck goes, you know what, let's go look for some kelps, and we'll see if we can find something. Headed back towards San Diego, we found some kelps that were holding yellowtail, and we ended up with about half a dozen yellow. Some of them were rats, not going to lie to you, but some of them were really good quality fish as well. And Cole just reminded me we lost about 8 fish fishing those kelp patties. So those patties are starting to hold.
this is all fantastic news, man. I mean, I am stoked. We kind of had the feeling the bluefin tuna were going to be skittish on your trip. We talked about it
Yep.
before you left in San Diego, but the fact that they're seeing them and metering them, that's a good sign.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, like we were on the Indy Dad together for 5 days, saw 2 fish the entire time. Chuck was making stops left and right, finding fish. They just were not wanting to play.
All right, good stuff. How was Chuck? How was the boat?
You know what? It was funny. I got on the boat and I looked at him and I go, you know who I am? And he looked at me and goes, you look awfully familiar. And I go, I'm Phil's kid. And he goes, dude, I remember doing interviews at Angel Stadium and you were knee high. And we started chuckling about that. And I'll tell you this, we had a lot of fun on this trip, and a lot of it had to do with Chuck on that microphone. He said, I'm not going to repeat it. He said some funny stuff over that microphone to us, man, and we had a blast with him. It was just construction crew mixing with the fishing crew. It was the perfect match. And we all got along. It was a lot of fun. And the fishing was great. I had a blast. All these guys are hooting and hollering. We're all going home with quality fish in our bag. So it was a good time.
Yeah, man, that sounds good. And Chuck's a funny guy, and I'm so happy that the Excalibur turned out to be such a great trip for you guys. And we kind of talked about it. I even mentioned you. I go, man, I think I'd go look at calling that. Now Chuck knows a lot more than me, but he obviously came to that conclusion. And man, I mean, when you say, Dad, you would have loved it. Oh my God, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, I caught a giant ling, and that was the biggest ling. The guys that were on here that are real green don't know they caught big lings too, and they know how significant that is. It's hard to come across those, but we came across some fish, man. There was the biggest bocaccio I've ever seen, the biggest reds I've ever seen, 300 foot of water. It was nuts.
Man, that is great fishing. 16-ounce torpedo, is that about right in that
We
water?
got away with 12. Got away with 12. The weather was beautiful out here. It was nice. We saw dolphins today. Today was the flats. We had a little bit of wind yesterday and a little bit of chop, but today was beautiful weather. It was a little cloudy, so it was hard to kind of find those kelp patties, but we ended up finding them anyway, so it worked out.
You know, I don't think I've heard anything. I may have missed it, but I haven't heard anything about kelp patty yellowtail this year.
I
I think you guys are on the cutting edge.
I think this is the first boat to do it. I haven't heard anything about kelp patty yellows.
All right, very good. So,
I've been
was
wrong before.
yeah, that makes two of us.
Yeah.
Hey, was the bluefin tuna zone really far from? Were there bluefin tuna close to Colonette?
Yes, they were. Yes.
Okay.
Wasn't that much longer run at all.
Good. And did you see any fish closer to home? Any bluefin?
We didn't mark anything coming back up the line, and these boys were burning their eyes out looking. They were all looking.
All right, good stuff. And shoot, I don't know what else to ask you. It just sounds like XL Paving tore up the Excalibur, and the Excalibur provided you guys with great customer service and a comedian on the PA.
I'll give you guys a funny story. The XL paving crew came in and drank this boat out of beer. Luckily, Chuck's son is running the ledge, and we ran over them, and their deckhands were hurling 30 packs from the stern of their boat to the bow. Man, we got a funny video of it, man, and they're just chucking them and catching them to give us another 630 packs. So it was a fun trip all around.
Come on, a bunch of construction guys drinking you out of beer? That I don't believe that.
This is after we warned them and said pack extra.
Hey, well, great stuff. You got Cole got a bluefin. That's tremendous.
A lot
While
of
you were
firsts.
sleeping.
Dude, I slept right through. I went to bed at 7 o'clock last night. He said, Cole, tell him how you're trying to wake me up.
I was slapping him in the face, and he would not wake up.
I was out. Not happening.
Hey, while Cole is standing there, why don't you ask him to describe how he caught that fish?
Yeah, tell him.
It was a knife jig. They were 300 feet. I dropped it down to 300, and on the way back up, they smacked the shit out of it.
Tell him what it felt like when that fish bit it.
Bus.
It felt like a train hit it. He told me this morning, he goes, I've never felt something hit a lure that hard. And he said some superlatives at the end there, but I'm going to skip those.
All right, we can fill in the blank. How long did it take him to land that fish?
How long, Cole? 20 minutes.
Oh,
He was on a heavy outfit.
That is great. Fantastic. All right, you guys, are you in the harbor now?
We're just getting in.
Beautiful Point Loma in San Diego. You're heading into H&M. Hey, Philip, that was a lot of fun. Thanks for a great update. Kelp paddy yellowtail, a sign of bluefin tuna, tremendous rock fishing, and you had a lot of fun with Chuck and the Excalibur. Sounds like a great trip.
Yep, and I missed the giant bonita. We got giant bonita on Mad Max.
Oh man, that's bitching.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was a great trip. We all had fun.
All right, Philip, thanks for a great update. Really appreciate it. Drive safe going home. Love you very much, and great seeing you.
Love you too, Dad. See you guys on the water.